Okay, on. So this is our third session with machine learning. Now what I want with this particular session is this should be as much interactive as it should be. All of your doubts should be placed on the real time. By real time what I mean is, as soon as I said a line and within 1 minute you are not able to digest that particular line or statement, you should ask me right there, either on the audio or on the chat, however you find it comfortable. Okay, and you, if you fail to interact today, you would get this thing very much boring, very much out of the context, very much difficult, and you will really miss something very much important which should not be missed. Okay, and why so? What is so special about particularly today's class? The reason is, today we will be going to learn something which makes machine learning different than normal technologies. Okay, we'll be going to learn the mathematics of machine learning and mathematics of the concepts working behind machine learning. And today we'll be going to go for a lot of mathematics behind it. Okay, complete sort of agenda for today is all and all theories. No more algorithms, no more scikit-learn, no more data set, no more nothing. No, just simply theory, 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 and theory with all the mathematics behind it, and we will code the theory our own way. Simple enough. Okay, I want you to be as much interactive as you can. Fair. So what we have done earlier, I'll just share my screen firstly with you. I hope it is visible. Now what we have done earlier is, we can check the agenda. Okay, so we have talked about the module 1, about introductions of different things going on. We have talked about module 2 about the supervised learning part. We have touched on supervised learning but not yet explored. We will be exploring it soon. Then we talked about the module 3, which is about linear regression. So our first task for today is to create linear regression by our own without using scikit-learn package. Okay, I'll just firstly recall all of your doubts regarding linear regression, that what is linear regression and how does it look like when it comes to using the sklearn package, and what is the pre-compiled version of linear regression, simply putting. Okay, then we will be making our own version and not be using the pre-compiled version, and then we will be looking at, okay, what are the results and how are they reflecting back when we are making it and when scikit-learn is making it. So I'll just move on to the desktop, my working arena. I'll open the terminal. A file I would be going to work on is mlmath.py. Okay, sorry, I created it on the root. Okay, so wherever you find that this particular thing is not clear to you, make sure to ask me right that time itself, whether on the comments on the Skype chat or on the audio. So what I'll be going to do is, I'll not be loading any data, I'll be just creating a dummy data as we did in the first class. Okay, so 5 points, let's make 7. And then again y would be having some 7 points. Right, then what I'll be going to say, no train test plate, nothing, just simply I'll be going to load the model. Although ideally all of your imports should be on the top of the page, top of your program, but let's make it modular right now. As m, okay, model is equals to m model dot fit on x comma y. Now what I want to do is, I want to plot the model. So for that I'll be using from matplotlib import pyplot as plt dot scatter firstly all the points which are x comma y, plt dot plot something, the model itself. Okay, so that I want is x comma model dot predict x, that is it, plt dot show. This is how our simple architecture for machine learning looks like, in which we need to give the value of x and y. Let's give the value of x and y anything like 40, 25, 32, 19, 84, 78, 33. Okay, and then let's give the value of y with anything like 25, 41, 77, 98, 20, 15, and 18. Firstly, I want to visualize whether even it is a linear model or not, just for the sake of simplicity. I want to visualize that, and I can do that by just writing this particular line. Let me run this code. Okay, so my code and my file would go all the way hand in hand. Both the things would be parallelly on the screen. Okay, this is not a linear data. It would be linear if we can shift these points to the left one. Okay, so instead of 78 or 85, whatever the points are, 78 and 84, let me turn them to 35 and 42. Now they would be linear with the negative ratio. Fine enough. This is now something linear. Even these points can be narrowed down with the value of 25 and the value of 80 to be 5. Okay, fair enough. Comparatively better. Now what I did is basically I just made a random split of random data. I just created a random data, and then what I did is I just turned them into linear part. Okay, no more non-linearity in the data, no more distributed split. For now, we'll be basically using the linear part of the model. Why so? Because we want to make a linear regression model, and that model would be something like this. Let me just head on to my tool, and I'll be going to explain some or the other way of mathematics that how a model would be going to look like. Okay, so our points are somewhat right here, here. Okay, let me turn it big. So, okay, something like this my data points look like. Now in order to make a line, the best fit line would be something like this. If I'll turn it to red color, it will be more precisely. Something like this would be our best fit line, right? And this is the expected line. Let's see what sklearn does for us. I'll just be closing this. Same data, everything would be same, just loading the model and plotting a line into our color, red color basically. Let's see. Okay, something like this we were expecting. I was not very much true with my prediction. This line should have gone from below the point rather than above the point, so I'll just be shifting my point. Okay, I hope it makes sense that what I'm going to do right here. This is how my data points and the line looks like. Okay, now this is exactly same, I guess. Somewhat same. Now you can refer any of the line. Let's refer this particular part because we can draw into it. Why this is a best fit line and not this green? It's not green. This way. Why not this green? And why not this blue? Why only red is the best fit line? Any answer from your side? I want the answers now.
It aligns perfectly with the data, mostly
The
aligns.
the line perfectly fits the data.
So mostly manages to fit with the data.
Okay, what will happen if I tell you that there is something machine learning model, not linear regression, a complex model like neural network or SVM or XGBoost or so, and that will make a model something like this. Okay, will that be the best fit? There is no technical restriction, then the line could be linear only. This is linear in the case of linear regression, but when you go for SVM or XGBoost or so, you can make actually curves, multidimensional curves. So just ignoring the technical restrictions for now, do you think that this blue is comparatively better than red? Do you think that blue is? How many of you think that blue is a better model than red? Just write me all the answers. I got one yes, and I need all the answers right here before we move on. We are 5 in number. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one person left. I guess Remjam. Okay, your typing strokes are audible. More accurate but less easy to read. Well, when it comes to machine learning, so you are not supposed to read the model. What we did earlier, just go back one day back, the last session. What we did is basically we just created a model, and once created, we just use that model to predict value for us. So we never try to read the model, and that is the case all the time. We never go for reading the model. Okay, so it is less easy to read, that is fine, but it is more accurate. Okay, what if I show you some graph like this? Stock price last 15 days. Let's take this blue line. Okay, this blue line goes all the way from, I'll make a graph right here, smaller graph. Okay, this blue line goes all the way something like this. What is your generalization about this? Let's suppose this is gold price. Okay, so this is date or time, basically whatever you can say, and this is gold price or house price or oil price or whatever. What is your generalization with this? That the price is decreasing, falling down with the time, but because of some uncertain reason, there is a spike right here. Okay, so might be something wrong in this particular day, something special about the pattern. So the price got some hike, some extra hike there, and something special about in this day as well, and something special about in this day as well. So price is going generally down, but with some spikes. This is what our generalization says. So our best fit line would go all the way from, I'll just make a thin green line into it, something like this, if you can see that line, or if you cannot, I'll just make it bit more thick, something like this. This would be our best fit model, and not this ugly turned and turned and turned and turned line. No, this will not be the model. This will be the data itself. And why? See, there is a concept of being best fit, a concept of being overfit, and a concept of being underfit. And I'll tell you what is the reason behind that. I need one more paint tool for that. I need this spaces. So we will keep this, we'll hold this point till this. Okay, and I'll be coming back to another paint tool for me with the same understanding of underfit, overfit, and best fit. Okay, so this is my data. I'll just draw something thick. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'll be going to make 3 lines. One line is this one. Okay, assume it to be a straight line. Extended it all to the end of the data, or let's even remove this point so that we'll be in the scope. Fine. Another line would be of blue color, which will be this one. Okay, another line would be of red color, which will be, okay, pink color, whatever color this is, this one. And I want them to classify as underfit, best fit, and overfit. Now, which will you say this is underfit, which for which you will say that this is overfit, and for which you will say that this is best fit? Just try to take the literal English meaning of the word. I will explain that, but firstly try to go for the literal English meaning of the word. What is the meaning of underfit? If as in curve line, if as in curve sign covering all the instances or points, so the loss will be less. So why it isn't the best fit? I will come to this. I'll explain each of the concepts regarding underfit, overfit, and best fit. Okay. Just try to think of it that there is a paragraph and you want to cram it. Have all of you gone through the story of that crow and earthen pot? That the crow was thirsty and there were stones placed near the water pot. Water, like the earthen pot full of water, and the crow just put on the stones and put it in the earthen pot, so the water rises up, and the crow just strive to be alive. Now, have you all of you have gone through that story, read that story, or someone from your grandparents or someone from your school have told you that story, right? Anyone who wants to narrate the story, can you narrate the exact words written into that story? No. Even what I narrated is just kind of summarization of the story. If you'll ask me to tell you the storyline of Endgame movie, okay, Avengers Endgame, what I'll do is I'll just give you a summary that this was the storyline, this has happened, this was the superhero, this was the villain, and they gone into that place and something like this. I'll never narrate the complete dialogues in front of you of the story, and neither anyone could do. If someone would do that, we call that person, when it comes to education, we call that person a crammer, not an educator. Okay, you are not educating yourself, you are just cramming the things. What is so wrong with cramming? That, let me remove all the other lines and let me just stick to this that particular overfitted line. So this is what my overfitted line looks like. Changing the color to green, thickness to bit lesser. Okay, assume it to be like converging into this point. My bad. And this line will keep on going. Now just think of the scenario that what is the loss right here? Loss turn out to be 0. Okay, or very very close to 0. But in the most cases it will be 0 if it is completely over. What will be the value of this particular price axis, whether it be of gold price or house price or something, for this particular point right here? According to this model will go all the way to this one. Okay, this point should be this, but in general we can see the price is increasing, so the price would be this. First problem. Okay, so it might perform great into the training data. Always think of about your training data and your testing data when you will be going to perform your machine learning model. So this is training data TR and this is testing data TE as a short form, right? Now what you basically want to do is you want your machine learning model to predict greatly on the testing data, or basically on the unseen data. Simply consider yourself, you have read a book and now your parents are asking the questions from your book itself, okay, or they want you to repeat all the words written in the book, and you performed well there, so you got good amount of score into training data. But when it comes to your exam, you were not able to write the answer. Reason is the questions were a bit twisted. Okay, so you were not able to perform this. So what is the conclusion? That you just have crammed the data and didn't understand the summary of it. Okay, you haven't understand the theory. You just have crammed the code or crammed the data or crammed the words as it is. This is what it is known as overfitting, that you are cramming the data point and not understanding the pattern, that it is generally increasing with some overlap, with some outliers into it. So you need to understand the pattern, that this is continuously increasing data, and this rather is a continuously decreasing and then increasing data, or something kind of U shape, valley shape. Same with this, it was increasing and then, like, it was slowly increasing, then a sudden spike and then sudden down. So it turned back to this point again, but for this region, 4 days of region, there was a sudden spike into it. Don't know for whatever commercial reason. This is stock price data. If I'll go for gold price, or if you can visualize this from this, it was a sudden increase, right? Firstly it was slow increase, then it was a sudden increase, and then it fall down. If you'll go for gold prices or something, again, fair enough. Understanding this data would be like slower increase, almost static, and then sudden increase, and then steepness, and then again sudden increase. Even you will summarize this data as well into an increasing data, not a fluctuating data. Okay, this would be a kind of inverted valley data with the normal distribution going on. You have firstly increased it, then decreased, and then it becomes static. This is what the purpose of machine learning, and not to cram the data. You want your model to be the best fit, okay, like this red, and not the overfit like this blue. Is this thing clear? That why, Jaren, your question, that covering all the instances, it is the loss is coming up to be 0, but conceptually it is not so good. According to this model, the price should be this one, but according to best fit model, the price should be this one because it is decreasing down. It needs to understand the generalized way, not the overfit way, not the over crammed version of data. No, needs to understand the data, do not need to cram it. Okay, so simply like if I'll show you some 10 images of car, okay, of similar type, and I'll show you, okay, student A or person A, whatever your name comes out to be, that this is a car because it has four wheels of some whatever inches of diameter, suppose x inches of diameter, right? It has a height of some 1.5 meters or so. It has a kind of width or length from the front to back of 2 plus meters or so, and it has the frontal width of something like, again, 1 meter. If I say you something like this, then you will be finding the things difficult to predict for the upcoming classes of cars, whether it be a sports car, whether it be any other format of car. But if I'll just go for the generalized way of understanding what a car looks like, okay, so this is a car because it has four wheels and a sitting capacity with closed doors and a closed metal body, and it looks pretty well. Then you can differentiate between a car and a truck and a bus and an auto and all the other vehicles out there, and even you can classify the sports cars in the form of a car and not an auto or truck or anything else. Okay, because I gave you some of the other general features of being a car. So now all the big brands, whether it be Mercedes or Audi or any other sports car brand, and all the generic brands, Hyundai and Honda and all, they fall under the category of car according to this definition. But if you go for very clear definition that because it has a throttle of this much unit, it has an engine power of this much horsepower, if it has a kind of acceleration with this many units, so it will become very specific, and you are just cramming the data and not understanding it. I hope I'm clear with what is underfit, overfit and best fit. Underfit is simply, I'll just go for some comparison. I'll write here train, test, and I'll make a chart here with underfit, overfit and best fit. So this is what my underfit looks like. This is what my overfit looks like. And this is what best fit looks like. So your underfit data would not be, firstly we'll go for training, obviously we firstly train and then test. So your underfit data will not perform well into training. So if it will not perform well into training, there is no need of going for the testing. So this is not applicable. If we'll go for overfit, it will perform best on the training but worst on the testing. Okay, it fails right here. And when it comes to best fit, it performs good on training, comparatively lesser than overfit, but fair enough to be used. And then it comparatively performs well enough in the testing as well. So this is what we need, because if it can perform well in testing, that means it can perform for unseen data as well, production data, because testing is the unseen part for us. Okay, I hope I am clear now. If you want, you can take the screenshot, or even need not to take the screenshot. Don't get overfitted with the concept. Try to understand the concept, do not cram it. Why? Okay, it's for yes. Okay, fine. What about others? What about others? Nitika, Amar, Jim, is that thing clear? Just do not make it a dumb class, make it interactive. Okay, fair enough. So we now know what is underfit, what is best fit, what is overfit. Just closing this tool, don't need this page. Coming up to this part. So now we know that we do not need this blue line, rather we need the red line, and this is what it gave the model when I ran that. Somewhat like this. Obviously I draw it manually, so I was pretty much far from that, not mathematically true, but the direction and something was like this. So what I need is, I hope I can get rid of this blue line now. I cannot. Didn't work. So I'll just draw the data again so that I would not be having any line right there. Yeah, I had some point. Whatever, like I'm not just talking about the preciseness of one. And this is what my line looks like. Something like this. At the last I messed up. Yep. Now, what is so special about this line and not this line and not this line? Okay, and I'll draw 4 lines in front of you. I want you to pick this line. How will you specify this line to me? This particular line, which I drew first, this one. How will you specify this? Okay, not best fit, overfit, underfit. No, all of the others are underfit, obviously, and the pointing one is best fit. I want you to tell me the specification of this line. What all are the features you need to specify the line? You are not getting my question. What I want to ask. I got it that it is best fit line. I got it that this is closing up the points. It is reaching up the point closely. And how to get that? I'll even come to that. What is the metric that tell you okay this is close and this is not close? We'll cover that. But right now what I want to ask is how will you represent this line? Okay, so I'll answer on my own that every line has an equation. What is so specific about this line is the slope of this line. Okay, that is why this line and this line and this line are all different, and even this line is different because all of them have different slopes. Okay, the what particularly we need is this slope. And slope is always the movement of x divided by movement of y. So I'll just represent it with dy, small y rather, and dx. Change in y by change in x. So now my slope would be something like this. Okay, and in the case of this diagram, let's see the slope. Let's try to understand the slope. So from around 15 to 45, there are around 30 units, and it turned down from somewhat 90 to somewhat 15. So what is the change in y? 90 minus 15, which is 75. What is the change in x? 15 minus 45, 45 minus 15, which is 30. So 75 by 30 is the slope. We can check that. Let's write the things like around right here, and we are doing it manually. So obviously there would be the like this is exposed to error. So 75 by 30 would be something like 22.5, I guess. So we want our slope to be something negative 2.5 because our change in y is negative. Okay, so change in y is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is how you basically calculate your slope. So y2 is 45, y2 is, sorry, y2 is this one, 15, and y1 is 90. So what you are doing, 15 minus 90, that come out to be minus 75, and x2 minus x1, which is coming out to be 30. So minus 75 by 30, it's minus 2.5. So this is what we basically need for now. This is what our slope is. Now another thing is that irrespective of the slope, the line would be this or the line would be this. They both have the same slope. So slope basically means the tangent or the derivative of y divided by derivative of x or something like this. So slope means basically the angle of that line. Now they both have the same angle because they are parallel lines. So they both have the same angle. Okay. Now what is so specific about this line? We need this one and not this one. How can we specify that? With the with one of the thing, that where does it start? Okay, on the y-axis, where it intersects on y-axis. So this line would intersect here. If I'll draw one more parallel line with the same slope, it would intersect here. Okay, so I need this particular point to be the starting. Okay, so what will be the point of starting for this line? It is somewhat between, if I'll extend it, it will be something like 90 to 93. Let's write an like an approximation of 90 to 93. Now how can you check these values? For that you need to write something in your code, because these are the specification of your model. So you will be writing print model dot coef underscore print model dot intercept underscore. I hope I am clear with my words. Let's see. So it turned out to be 152. Okay, fair enough. Why it is 152? The reason is that it is on 20 right now, and this gap is of 25. The first to second gap is of 25. If you would be having a point with x is equals to 0, if I'll predict for x is equals to 0 right here, so what we basically missed is the ticks written on the graph. Now if it is having 152 as the intercept, that means model.predict 0 should be 152.37 itself. I messed up, I guess, with this. Okay, brackets. Yeah, it gave me the same thing, 152.37. And if you project this line to 0 comma with some point like 0 comma something, let me give it 152 as well. So this line will intersect actually 152. Okay, it will intersect, as it is on 0, so it is actually on approximately 150 or 152 or so, and the slope would also be changed something. So from minus 3.38 it turned out to be minus 3.37, and what we have approximated is actually minus 2.5, which was way wrong. It turned out to be minus 3.37, and which is the exactly same thing. Okay, our mathematical computation turned out to be a wrong one, and it hit on 152. We missed this because we ignored the spacing, that it was not equally spaced. Our graph was something like this, that from this to this it is 20 and 25. This was 5 units. Okay, so obviously this would be nothing different than 18 or so. We don't want it to be on 18. We want what will be the value on 0, which will be way more far. Okay, is this thing clear? Because this is the base for our next particular point. Where is the point 152 on graph? Okay, I'll show it up. So this is the 0, and this is something 152. You can approximate that. So 120 to 140 is this gap, 20 units. This would be the gap of 12 units approximately. This is 0, 152 on the graph, and you can see the distance. So earlier we were plotting till this point only. Now we have this much gap. That's why it was not 120 or 125 as expected. It was big actually. We were trying to predict it right here, but it was right this point. Is this clear, Jarin? And can you please repeat? Okay, I will be repeating, but what to be repeated? Okay, if you are saying about that 0 0 should be on the starting, no, actually it is not the case. See, there are graphs into negatives as well. So this is one of the way of plotting the graph, that it doesn't end at 0. Basically takes the point, it basically works on the point, okay, minimalistic point, and then after that it gives some space, some margin padding or something like that, you can say. Okay, that's why the 0 point is there, and after that it has some space. That is what it actually is doing. Okay, is this thing clear to others? MJ, Nitika, Amar? Because this is our base for the next thing we are going to talk about. Okay, you are not clear. Okay, I'll repeat the things again. Wait. What about others? Okay, firstly list all the doubts all of you are having. If there is any other doubt as well. This thing should be very clear. This is very, very important. And if you will not clear this on time, you will find whole of your machine learning to be a bit difficult. I'll repeat. I'll repeat everything from scratch. I'll just close everything. Okay, I'll just delete everything right here as well, and I will repeat everything from scratch. What we basically have done is we have some graph. Okay, then we have some data points. Let's suppose of blue color, any random data point. Now the projection of this line should be something like this. Let's draw a line right here. So it is something like this. Just imagine this is a linear line. Don't just ignore please the spikes into this and the errors into this. Now what is the meaning of, there are two components we were talking about. So one thing is coefficient and one thing is intercept. So intercept is something that where does my line would cut when x is 6 would be having the value 0. Okay, so what will be the value of y when x would be 0. Okay, so basically intercept, which is known as b or y intercept or anything, is nothing but y for x turning out to be 0, something like this, where y is the function of x. So when x would be 0, what will be the value of y? Okay, this is what is the bias means, intercept means. And the other thing is that, so now with bias we are getting one thing, that our line should be starting from this point. So our line can be the one which is stated, our line can be this, 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 can be this, can be this, anything like. Okay, what is so special about this red line we have created is the angle, that on starting from this point going towards this direction, that is all required. So the angle is always calculated from x-axis obviously. So this is our angle. Okay, I'm just drawing a parallel x-axis over it. So obviously it is a negative angle, it is a negative, it is some negative value. Now this thing has a formula of calculating the slope, which is derivative of y over derivative of x. Okay, dy dx curl y curl x, however you write it, which has a formula of y2 minus y1, simple derivative formula, change in y, and on the bottom side it is having change in x. Okay, this is what our lines coefficient looks like, slope looks like. Okay, fair enough. Let's prove this thing first. Let's prove this thing. So what I want is, I want to write some code wherein I have predicted for model.predict y, and I'll do the same prediction for model.predict 10. Okay, so now our x2 value is 10, x1 value is 0. Okay, so 10 minus 0 turn out to be 10 itself, so no need to write 0. So our bottom part is basically 10. Now let's calculate our upper part by getting the value of two predictions. So I'll get the value of two prediction, and in order to differentiate that with others, I'll be writing here a kind of line, just okay. So our prediction is 152 and 118. Okay, so let's exactly subtract that on a calculator, completely precisely subtracting that on calculator. Okay, turn out to be this value. Now what I want to do, this divided by 10. It turned out to be 3.37514. Okay, and now just see what we are actually doing is our coefficient is 3.3751438, but negative. 3.3751438 positive. What is so different about it? That firstly we have predicted for, okay, let's say this is 1 and this is 2. Okay, so we want to do is 10 minus 0 in the bottom, and on the upper side obviously 2 minus 1, so 2 is on the bottom side, 118, so we'll be going for 118 minus 152 with all the decimal into it. So precisely when it will be drawn, it will come out to be minus 33, and 10 minus 0 is 10, so this will come out to be minus 3.3. So we proven that this is the slope. This particular thing is calculated by this formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Till this point it is clear, then I will move on this.
There, sir.
Yeah, what about others? I need the confirmation from all of you. I got 1, 2, 3, okay, 4, 5, okay. Now moving ahead, we calculated one thing which is known as the coefficient. Okay, let me just erase whole of the thing right here, and let me particularly erase data points as well, because we don't need data points anyhow. Okay, even not this axis, we don't need this part. So we are just left with our line and the basic y-axis only. Now what is another thing required? This particular point. And what actually is this particular point? If I predict for x is equals to this, what will be the value? This one, right? This particular intersection. If I'll predict for x is equals to this, what will be the value? This one. So our bias is nothing else but the value of y model dot predict for x is equals to 0. So we can check that by typing model dot predict 0 or model dot intercept right here. They should return the same thing, and let's see, are they returning the same thing? This is returning 152.09781357, and it is returning the same thing but with a round off in the last, nothing separate. They are exactly the same thing. Model dot predict 0 is actually our model dot intercept, okay, or the bias of model. Now what these two things mean? Are you aware of the equation of basic line? If you have studied that in 9th, 10th, and even we repeated that in the linear regression introduction, that a machine learning model looks something like this: mx plus b. Okay, where m is our coefficient or tangent or slope, whatever you say, that 3.37 minus 3.37, and b is our bias, so that 152 point all that. Okay, in order to prove this equation, I will be doing one thing. Instead of, I'll do one thing, model dot predict 10, okay, and then I'll use this equation, no more plots right now for some while. So I'll be comparing model dot predict 10, and what else I'll be doing? I'll be predicting x is 10, obviously right here, model dot coefficient multiply x, which is 10, plus model dot intercept. Okay, the both of the values should be same. How many of you agree to this point, that both the values should turn out to be same? my Skype and everything at a similar part? Yeah. So how many of you agree to this point that both of the values should turn out to be same? At least give some yes, no, anything. Wait, I'll just set some things for me. Fair enough now. Okay, so both of the values should turn out to be same. Let's see. If I'll execute this, it is giving me 118.3463, everything exactly same. So model.predict 10 is nothing different than m multiply 10 plus b, where x is our input as per this diagram, mx plus b. M is the coefficient and b is the bias. This equation will not leave you until deep learning as well. Okay, so whole of the machine learning, whole of the deep learning is some or the other way variation of mx plus b, and this equation comes from linear algebra. Right, now our next task is, if I will tell you, okay, do one thing, I'll just send these values on the Skype. This is your m, and your b is minus 3.37 and all that. Just do one thing, open your calculator, tell me what is mx plus b is for 25. So you want x to be 25 and give me the value of mx plus b. Open your calculator, all of you, and send me the value, not the screenshot, or you can send the screenshot or value or anyhow. I hope you all have calculators, and I hope you all have the calculator working in your system. Or if not, you can try Google as well, or it's taking too long. .3799 or more precisely 3799.070. Okay, some or the other way the same thing. Okay, on an like 3799.0701 till this we take, and let's see what will be the value of. I just don't need anything else. I just need this model.predict 25. So model.predict, you gave it for 25, right? So model.predict 25 is nothing different than, what is so wrong about it? 67.719. No, I messed up actually. Wait, shouldn't give me this output. Well, wait, what you are actually doing? Are you doing m multiply x plus b, or are you doing m multiply x then b? There is a difference. So my x is, wait, m multiply x, which is 25. Sorry, I gave you reverse values. So b was 152 and the x, sorry, m was minus 3.37, which was our slope. Make it a reverse and adding it with 152 point whatever there is. Reverse that. It was my bad. Like I just switched M and B. It isn't working. It's turning out to be 67.79. My bad. I gave you wrong equation. Actually, instead of M, I gave B, and instead of B, I gave M. And if we'll calculate it again, I want at least one or two of you should calculate this again, and it should be 67.719. And this is the same what we are getting right there on our terminal, 67.719 with model.predict right here. So model.predict is giving me 67.719. Just try to execute that again in your calculator. Fast. Switch M with B. Now M is minus 3.37 and all that, and B is 152 point all that number. What is this? 236. How could it be? Make sure to multiply M and X first and then add B into it. 67.719 is actually what's coming up. Yeah, it's working fine. 67.719. That is what it was required. Remjin, check with that. You might have added X and B earlier and then multiplied it with them. Yeah, fine. So now we are getting 67.719217 in your calculator, and in my system it is 217 and then 49 as well. What does this mean? What does this signify? Is that if I will share you my M and B values, okay, of my model, then this is whole of the trained model. What else is required? So whatever I can do with model.predict, that same thing you can do in your calculator. So where goes the machine learning? What is so special about machine learning? Actually, the thing is, now what I'll be doing, I'll just be commenting this as well and this as well. So I'm just printing up coefficient and intercept. So this M and X value are coming all the way by its own. We are not calculating it. Okay, if I just change this a bit, instead of 19 I turn it to 20, there would there would be obviously a slight change in the M and B value, but automatically. So you can check, it is minus 3.37, now it is minus 3.38, which was 152.097, it is now 152.922. It has auto adapted the value of M and the value of B. This is what machine learning means, that we are not hard coding it. We have just a package which will do all the math, understand the pattern out of it, linear pattern out of it, which is specific for linear regression, and makes the prediction for us. Now if I can create M and B value by my own without using this sklearn.linear regression, then that means I don't need anything else. I don't need anything from linear regression if I can create my M value and B value by my own. So in order to do that, I'll just be commenting of this sklearn part again. Okay, and this plotting part as well again. I would be going to draw some equation right here. Let's close this. I hope this is all clear to you. That what is the basic mathematical formula of M and B? The formula of M is mean of X. Okay, with mean, I'll say mean with like, suppose a bar on the top. So I'll say mean of X multiply mean of Y minus mean of X multiply Y all together. There is a difference in the hierarchy. Okay, so instead of making a bar, I'll do one thing for the clarification. I'll make something like this. This will clarify more. Okay, so power, and on the power there is a cap mentioned. So mean of X, this cap means the mean. So mean of X Mean of I, it doesn't mean, it is not the symbol for mean. I have just drawn it right here. So it is not a generic symbol of mean. So mean of x, mean of y minus mean of xy multiplied together divided by x mean square. Okay, and then x square mean. This is how you can basically achieve the value of m, and how this formula has been derived, what is the formula all about, how I get to know about this formula. Particularly, I have not discovered it, very frankly. The person who have discovered linear regression, sklearn, and all those people are working for this. Now, how they get to know about this formula is the part of linear algebra and mathematics, which we are not discussing right here. We are understanding mathematics for linear regression, for machine learning, but we are not actually understanding the generalization of an equation or the generation of an equation. So what is our next task? Using this formula and creating our own value of m, which was earlier minus 3.37 and so on. Okay, so it is already stored in our Skype, so we can refer that later to verify that what we have discovered is, what we have calculated, not discovered, is perfectly right or not on the same data. Okay, and I'll be turning it again to 19 so that we will be able to match it up with our Skype data. Moving this all on the down, and I use multi-line comment, so make sure to use a multi-line comment or single-line comment whenever it will be the suitable one. Now what else I'll be going to do? I need to implement this mathematics into my file, into my system. Now in order to do that, I'll just put it on side and I need to write the code. So firstly I write something like numerator, and then I write something like denominator. Okay, so denominator seems to be simple one. What I need to do is I need to make an import. I guess from math import means something like this. Let's see, I will confirm that. Now with mean, what we want to do, we want to take the mean of x. Okay, because x is a list, capital X rather. Okay, and then we want to square that up. This is our first part of denominator. Okay, star star means square, and then we need to make the second part of our denominator, which is, firstly we need to square the x, and then we need to take the mean. Okay, this is simple how a denominator looks like with opening and closing bracket. Just denominator is completed. Now let's talk about numerator. So into numerator, first component is, firstly we need to take x, mean of x, multiply that with mean of y. Okay, this is how our first component is, minus second component, and then completing bracket. So within the second component we have x multiply y and mean of this complete. Okay, now our value of m, I will call it weight, should be equals to numerator by denominator. Let's print weight. I hope it will give correct result. If not, we will debug that. Okay, there is no mean into math. Let's see how to import. Is there a mean function or so? I forgot the syntax. Come on, I don't need this. Okay, it is statistics dot mean. So let's do that. So instead of math, I need to import it from statistics, I guess. Still some issue, cannot convert type list to numerator comma denominator. Okay. I hope this would be the problem. Still something wrong. Let's print what is our numerator and denominator looks like. Okay, I'm just debugging what is so wrong about this, and what I'm getting is type error cannot convert list to numerator, divide by denominator, and which line actually? Mean x or mean y, and let's do one thing. Issue and this particular part. Okay. I'm saving the file and running it again and again. X is okay. X, something wrong right here. Sequence by non of type. Oh, alright. So what is the problem is that this is now I'm having 2D list right here because of that sklearn formatting. Might be this would be the issue. What I'll be doing is I'll be just overwriting the list with numbers 40, 25, 32, 19, 42, 35, 33, and this. So I was using sklearn's format right into this. Still something wrong. Cannot multiply sequence by non. Something wrong into this. Okay. I need to write a function. Might be this doesn't support like this. So I just write a function with mul. But according to that definition, this part should be working. Mean of x. Okay, fine. This part is working. Denominator should be completely working. Denominator has an issue. What is that? Okay, let's make it another way. I just delete everything. What is so wrong about it is that it is not allowing me to do the operations on list. So what I'll be doing is I'll be making variables. So what we need is mean of x. Is that probably due to var number? What is var num? What is var num? Variable. No, actually the thing is that it is not allowing me to multiply list with list or power or so. So we need one variable like this. So I'll name it x mean. Let's make variable instead of this. Being a programmer, we need to be stubborn to fight with the language so that if it doesn't allow, we'll make it our own. So we have x mean, y mean, which was required. Then we need to have x, y mean. So for that, we need to say for item in x. Okay, or simply for I in range length of x, xy list would be xy would be list. So xy dot append xi star by I. Let me see if it worked. I got it. Yeah, fine, working. So we have this xy. Okay, and now we need xy mean. What else we need is x mean square, which is a possible number. Another thing we need is x square mean. So we need to calculate x square as well. Similarly, I just name it xx. So x star I minus x star I. Fair enough. X star w. And we can have xx mean. So now I think I have all the stuff. Coming back to the formula we declared, I need to define that my numerator would be having mean x, which is x mean rather, multiplied by y mean, a whole single unit, and this is the first unit, minus another unit which is having xy mean, which is declared as xy mean. Fine. Okay. Then we need to have denominator, which is x mean square. So let's, the word is x mean star star 2 minus x square mean square. I hope some good luck right here. Still something very bad. Point 0.00059599. And what is our sklearn doing with this? All dot coefficient as of now. Sklearn is saying minus 3.3751. Okay, and we are saying minus 0.00059, which is not the right thing. Let's re-verify our formula. It is x mean, y mean minus xy mean over x mean square and x square mean. It should give me the same. X mean, y mean minus xy mean, x mean square. Still bad. Well, what is wrong about this? What I'll be doing is I'll be reducing the numbers. It is minus 1, and r is minus 1.6 e raised to power minus 0.5, which is not so good. Let's print all of our variable, might be a little work. X mean let's see for these values. So x mean should be 35, y mean should be 15, 35, 15. xy is 400 and 600. Fine. Mean is 500. Okay, that is even fine. I mean, so accordingly, our numerator should be 35 by 15 minus. Okay. Fine, and numerator is correct. Another thing is x mean square. X mean is 35. 1225 66 minus 2 minus 2. Minus 25, and our numerator is 25. It should give us a simple value of minus 1, but why it is not giving? Something wrong we did in our denominator. I'm missing something very silly. I just need your help to find out if I'm missing something very silly. Seriously, very silly. So x mean is 35, which if I'll go to terminal and do the square of that, turned out to be 1225. Okay, so x mean square is 1225. X square mean is 1250, because it is a mean of 900 and 600. So 1250, if I'll subtract it from this one, something wrong with brackets, I guess. Something wrong with denominator. So 25 divided by minus 25 is minus 1. What is wrong? Let me redesign this thing again. I want here to be 1250, 1225 minus 1250. So I need x mean square. Let's have it first. Whether it be 1225 or not. It is. And another thing is x square mean got it. What I was doing earlier is I was just squaring it up, and so I was doing x square mean and again squaring it. I was wrong with my calculation. I was wrong with my formula. Right here I need to have x square mean, that is all required, and right here numerator divided by denominator. Fair enough. No more print statements. All the debugging is done, and we are ready with our model. So this is what my model is saying, and this is what linear regression is saying. And let's come back to our existing data of all the stuff. Okay, so I forgot the data although, but let's write anything into it. So 10, 20, 35, 70, 92, 58, 47, 82. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 values. 40, 30, 52, 30, 47, 93, 75, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12. Now this is what I am having one version of x and y and another variable with x underscore scalar. Okay, and I have all the calculations required, all the variables required, and then I am printing numerator, denominator, and this is what my model's value is. Okay, so custom calculated weight is this, whereas our model weight is sklearn trained model weight is this. Let's see. Now custom weight is 0.5860, sklearn's weight is 0.5860. Just look at what I did, comparing it with what is there in my formula. I was just messing it up. I just have made a mistake. Okay, this thing is now clear. So I have a numerator where I am saying x mean multiplied by y mean. Okay, so the first component x mean y mean minus xy mean, this part. Denominator, I have first component as x mean square and the second component is x square mean, and just numerator by denominator. That is how we can make our own linear regression model without using sklearn, because we know what we need from linear regression sklearn model: weight and bias. So we have actually made our own component of weight. Till this point, any doubt? This formula is there in your screen. You can write it down. I told you, just stick with your copy pen there with your. Now just tell me, any doubt into this till now? What about others? Sorry, I took a lot of time. I got stuck in some debugging. I was just messing up something silly. Okay, all of you, the things are clear to you? Rimjim, Jaren, Ashish, Nitika, Amar. Do you want me to explain it again? Yes, for what? Clear or repeat? Okay, I'll repeat. No worries. There is one formula which we are using. Okay, so from where this formula came up, how this formula has been derived, that is not our concern. We are using this formula as our base. Okay, then what we did, I have written a code. Into this I'll be using this formula. Okay, so what I have done, basically I have taken one variable as x mean. I imported mean from statistics, which is the mean function. I have made one variable as x mean, one variable as y mean, right? So this caps written is something I have used particularly for this course only. It is not a general symbol for mean. No, x mean, y mean I declared, which is mean of x, mean of y. X and y are list. Then I made a list xy, and how I have made the list, I have just appended into that value of xi multiplied by value of yi, wherein I is coming from the loop of length of x. So if there are 8 elements, So first element of x, first element of y, second element of x, second element of y, and so on, and xy list is maintained. So for that the list would be 400, 600, then third element would be 35 multiplied 52, whatever the value is, and so on. Then similarly we maintained an xx list. So it is xi multiply xi, square of all the elements. We maintained the list. Then we again took the mean of xx and mean of xy. Right. Now our formula is x and x mean, y mean, right here, minus xy mean, right here. This is the numerator part. Then we have something like denominator. Into that we have x mean square. So x mean multiply x mean. Right, and then we have x square mean. So x square is xx, mean of xx. Then we just have printed numerator by denominator, which is our m value. So numerator by denominator, which turn out to be the same as what is given by sklearn. Right here you can see. So custom calculated value 0.5860. So sklearn trained model value 0.5860. Okay. Next step is to move towards bias. Are you guys up with me so far? Now any doubt? You want me to repeat it still one more time? I would. Just let me know. Do I need to repeat this again? Or is this thing clear? Okay, what about others? Alright, great responses. Fine. So next thing is to calculate bias according to this mathematical calculation instead of using sklearn. So I'll be removing all the spaces from here to get some real estate. Okay, now I am getting the weight right here, and apart from that is my sklearn part. So now I'll be printing model.intercept. sklearn trained model bias is str model.intercept underscore. Okay, and then I need to train the like I need to get this model part. So for that I'll be doing one thing. Instead of writing numerator versus numerator slash denominator, I'll be writing here weight and storing it in some variable, because I need that right there. So the formula for calculating bias, I hope you have written down this formula. If not, the video will be still available to you, so you can use that any moment of time. The formula for bias is comparatively simple enough. It is bias B is equals to y mean minus m x mean. Okay, and this formula you can easily remember with mx plus b equation. The usual equation is y is equals to mx plus b. Okay, so now if I'll derive the value of b from here, it will be y minus mx, but we are talking about the generalized concept, so we have taken y mean minus mx mean. Okay, so there is no mean for m because it is a static value. So y mean minus m x mean, simple formula. Now let's implement this formula. It will take not more than 2 minutes. It should not take more than 2 minutes. So y mean minus mx mean, let's implement that. So our bias would be first component minus second component, and that's all. Okay, so firstly I need y mean. So y mean is calculated to me. It is right here. Minus m is the weight. Sorry. Multiply x mean. This is all need to be done, and simply I'll be printing it out. So instead of printing weight, now I'll be printing bias. I hope this time no such foolish mistake. Now we are perfect. 23.400345 without sklearn and 23.400345 with sklearn. Okay. I hope this thing is also clear to you. It is simple enough. This is the formula, and we just have implemented that formula into Python. Nothing more to do. So now I hope you will be getting a better idea that what do I mean when I say that language is nothing more than a kind of communication. We being human communicate in this language, and when we communicate to computers, we communicate in this language. Simple enough. Nothing else. Language has nothing to do with technology. Okay, so we got the bias, we got the weight in the weight and bias format. Now let's see something fancy. Let's print weight multiplied 34, okay, as a single unit plus bias, and let's print it, print model dot predict for 34. 43.32568, 43.32568. Simple enough. And if you will go for the execution of this for any number, it will come out to be exactly same. Let's go for 92. Okay. Now if you change your data, let's suppose I change the data of 52 to 12, and right here as well 52 to 12, because I need to make it common. The value would be changed, but on both the sides. So for 92 earlier we were having 77 point all that number. Now we are having 80 point all that number. I hope this point is clear to you. So what we have did, I will basically repeat the things. We have basically understood about that what is linear regression, and then we have implemented linear regression from scratch in this particular session. So our session was totally about the mathematics, and we talked about how to implement linear regression from scratch. Into that we talked about what is a weight and what is a bias. Okay, we talked about what are these two concepts, weight and bias. We talked about what is underfit, overfit and best fit, and we created a linear regression of our own. Just write down this formula as well with you, take a screenshot, do whatever you want to do with this particular screenshot. Okay, write it down, save it, or like your choice. Now I'll wait for doubts for 5 minutes, and then I'll move on to the next part. I got something. So if everything is same other than time to implement, which is more better when we do ML as in generic one or in sklearn. Okay, so Jaren, actually the thing is that this seems to be same, the output seems to be same. Okay, not the inner working. Our inner working, it seems like sklearn is slower, but no, sklearn is very faster when you will implement the same thing on a commercial scale. Moreover, it gives you a lot many things. Now you will find out that you need not to worry about all the mathematics. You saw that what sort of silliest mistake I did, and I get to know about that mistake only and only when I had a benchmark to match up. I was knowing that my value should be equivalent to sklearn's value, and that's the only way with which I converge to the original value. Otherwise, if I wouldn't be having that sklearn value, I would have been thinking, okay, whatever I did is completely true. But being a human, I introduced a human error into this. Okay, I just by mistake taken the square of the value which was already squared. So you will fall into such traps very often. Whereas on the other side, sklearn gives you completely simple APIs to work on, wherein you just need to call model.fit and then model.predict, and it will work. No more mathematics, no more understanding. This is simple linear regression algorithm. But when you dive deeper into random forest or XGBoost or AdaBoost or SVM, you will see, I'll give you a link of video. In order to explain SVM, mathematics of SVM, it takes 4 to 5 complete boards, complete full size, extra full size, the green board or white board. You need to write it fully, erase that, again write it, erase that, again write it, erase that. This much lengthy is SVM to be explained. You cannot simply implement that with mathematics in Python. Okay, but what was the purpose of this class? In order to tell you that machine learning is not doing any magic. What sklearn is doing is not a magic, it is just a game of numbers. Okay, nothing else. You are just working out with numbers, you are playing with numbers and calculating the numbers of your choice, numbers which fits the model, and those numbers which fits the data rather. So those numbers are known as your trained model. So trained model is nothing like a big giant file downloaded from a cloud or so. No, it is just a configurated number, nothing else. Well, any other theoretical or practical doubt? Weight and bias. So bias, I'll again come to that line drawing part. So this is my graph. Imagine it to be perfect one, and this is what my line looks like, best fit line. So this particular height is known as the bias from x-axis to the point which cuts x is equals to 0, which cuts the y-axis basically. This particular height is known as the bias, and weight is nothing more than the angle this line would make with x-axis. Okay, so this line is making this angle right here. So this is the weight, which is generally like known as slope as well, tangent as well, and it can be calculated with y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That is the simple equation for weight. Yeah, that is known as slope as well. I hope it is clear now, Ranjan. So bias is something, bias, intercept, y-intercept, these all are same thing. Weight, coefficient, tangent, slope, importance, feature importance, these all are one thing. Okay. Nikita, Amar, any doubt? Trained file. Okay, we haven't talked about file yet. This is our next part actually today. So we'll be talking about file right here. How to get the codes right. I didn't get the question, Ranjan. What is this question all about? How to get the codes right? No, I didn't get the question. What code and how to get it right? Like, what is the meaning of right?
Okay, right. We understood. I understood the concept, but
Mm-hmm.
the coded part was not very
Okay,
like
okay, simple enough.
syntax.
See,
We have
it was
to
nothing.
get it ourselves.
Hmm. Okay, firstly, let me just cover Amar Riaz's doubt. I'll come to your point. So, Amar, B is the bias, M is known as the slope, tangent, model coefficient, or anything like that, or feature importance as well. So, M is another, like, you can call the equation like y is equals to mx plus b. You can call the equation is like y is equals to wx plus c. These are just name givens to that weight, where x means input, the multiplying factor of x means coefficient, weight, or model importance, and all that stuff, and the another addition stuff is known as bias, which is getting added. Okay, I hope it is clear now. Now coming on to your doubt, Remjim. Let me wait for him to type first. Wait just a second. Yeah, so coming on to your doubt, see, whenever you need to code, I personally have coded all the way altogether. Okay, because I find Python as very comfortable language. Let's code it again. Okay, because I'll be going a bit more slow, and I'll be coding it on um, VS Code so that I can zoom it up. Silliest reason to use VS Code this time actually. Okay, this is the fine. Okay, I'll be saving this file somewhere in the desktop. Recode.py. Okay, over zoomed. Fair enough. Now what you basically need to do is look at our formula. Let's simply recreate this formula. Where it had gone? I deleted this one. Okay, this looks like a simple formula. So for that we need components, which is y bar or mean. Okay, this b we need to calculate. We don't need this. and we need this m, we need this x bar. Okay, let's create components first. So m, I would believe that we have calculated earlier, so I'm just borrowing this m from somewhere. So suppose it is 5. Okay, now another thing what I want to calculate is y bar. So I'll import something like from statistics, import mean. Okay, for finding the mean, I'll go for calculating y bar, which is, I'll name it y mean is equals to mean of y. Fair enough. If you don't know the what is the particular import for mean, even I forgot that. I just searched on Google how to get mean on in Python. It gives me the result. I was thinking of that it is in the math library, but no, it is in the statistics library. And similarly, I need mean of x as well. So I'll write x mean is equals to mean of x. Okay. Now what I want is I make something like b is equals to first minus second. I am just making a template wherein first means simply y mean and second means simply m multiply x mean, m multiply x mean. Now I can do b is equals to first minus second. So simply go step by step. That will work. Otherwise, if I'll go for this formula wherein we have written the formula for m, I cannot go that much back actually. So we had the formula of x mean, x bar, a lot of 7-8 components. So what I did, I'll just show you right here. I firstly made this component, then I made this component, populated that and took the mean. This component, populated that and took the mean. Then I made two different components, numerator and denominator, and then I just divided that. So into numerator and denominator, I could have made an first numerator, first component of numerator, second component of numerator, first component of denominator, second component of denominator, and so on. So if you'll go step by step, things will be smoother for you. And that is just like how to become a better coder. I hope it would be clear now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So any doubt till now? Anyone having any sort of doubt? I will share the code file with you. Our agenda was actually to go for some other concepts as well for today, but it took a long. So in the next class, we will be again talking about some concepts. Like one of the concepts we will be talking about is that once we have trained the model, okay, it might take 1 minute to be trained, 1 second to be trained, 15 minutes to be trained, or 20 minutes, or 1 day or 2 day or month or so. Normally machine learning and deep learning models take more than 2-3 hours to get trained if it is a commercial scale data and if it is a good architecture. Then how to store that model, how to preserve that model, so that next time we need not to train that, we will just use that model, borrow that model and use it, just like I did that in weight is equals to 5 parts. So I could have stored the weight somewhere because it took around 20 minutes to make that weight function. Now I could have stored the weight and I can just borrow the weight and use that. Okay, something like this. So we'll be talking about how to store a model, and what exercise we'll be doing in the next class is, suppose you are 5-6 students, so each one of you will make a model on your own data set. Okay, you will be very much free to take your own data set or simply any random data set you will create. You will train your model and some other person, suppose person A has created a model, person B has created another model. So person B will be using the model of person A and person A will be using the model of person B. This is something which we will be going to achieve in the next class. Then we will be talking about what are the different metrics with which we will get to know that the model is performing well or not. What are different loss functions and what is R2 score, R square basically. And then we will be talking about that if our model is getting underfitted, what to do. If our model is getting overfitted, what to do. Today we simply said, okay, this model is underfit, this model is overfit, this model is bestfit. It is not coming anyway from sky. We are creating the model. So if it is getting overfitted, what can be done? And if it is getting underfitted, then what else can be done? So this would be our next class agenda, and if the time permits, we will go on the exploration of logistic regression as well in the next class. But as of now, I am done from my side for all the technical things. And I need some comments from you that what did you felt about this mathematics session? Any comment from your side, whether it be on audio or on text? So it might seem something difficult, something out of the box, but it is necessary. If you really want to be a machine learning engineer, you need to know the math behind it. sklearn everybody knows. Like sklearn was a thing of 5 minutes. Everybody knows which more like how to use linear regression, how to use logistic regression. The question arises is why to use linear regression and why not logistic? Why to use SVM? Why not logistic? Why to use neural network? Why not XGBoost and so on? So I always say that this is not about code anymore. It is just about approaches. So major of the time we will be using that paint tool rather than the Python code. So code is just last layer of implementation, whereas research and understanding of concepts and the concept and theory behind that is the major machine learning. Well, anyone wants to give any kind of feedback to that? Anything you find difficult to understand, difficult to learn, difficult to be executed? I'll share the code with you. Right now I'll be doing this. Okay, so recode is nothing but a trash file. So ML math I'll share. I'll rename it to linear regression math. You need to revisit this video again and again and again because this thing you will not be able to absorb once. Even if you will absorb this, you will forget the formula. This used to happen. If you will not stay consistent with this, you need to revisit the concepts again and again. So the video would be there. You will get the link. It will be there on YouTube. You can revisit it any moment of time and refresh your concepts. Fair enough then. See you in the next class. Take care. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you.